Assalamu alaikum everyone, it's Smooth Ansaar. I'm on my way to work again, hence the car video. But this is when I have time to do stuff, my little alone time. The craziest thing happened last night at work. I was parked in the company parking lot, and one of the flowers came and plowed my car, sideswiped me. So I can't even get inside the driver's door right now. It's crazy, but I'm gonna keep calm and carry on, as they say, and just thank Allah that that's all that happened. I could not be on the road right now, which 2 weeks ago I hit a deer, and so that car is still in the shop with lots of work to be done, mashallah. But again, things could always be worse. Today, as everyone well knows, is Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is a holiday that I do not participate in. I raise my children to not participate in it. We are African American, but I also have Native American very close in my bloodline. And and it's real. I know a lot of people, when an African American talks about having, Indian blood or whatever, it's like a big joke. But the reality is, plenty of African Americans intermingled and married Native Americans, or vice versa, however you want to say it. So it's very real, and it's very real for my family. Aside from that, my father's people are Bahamian, and the natives there were the Lucayan. So either way you slice it. I don't know. I'm celebrating this, what to me is an unholy day instead of a holy day, a holiday. But it's just senseless that people even celebrate it. I mean, like, if there was a federal holiday made celebrating something that, actually honors slavery for African Americans and Africans who were kidnapped and brought to this country, I'm sure we would celebrate that too, because, as the government well knows, we just follow blindly. Whatever is said to do, we do. As long as we don't look different, God forbid we should look different, or, like rebels or something like that. Of course, I don't care about that sort of thing. I don't care about that sort of thing. But, so my not celebrating it is actually a more of a familial thing, a cultural thing. And so, it being Thanksgiving, of course, nowadays it kicks off Black Friday. Like, you don't even wait for Friday anymore, it's today. And I had never actually, I knew about Black Friday, of course, but I never knew that it was like huge the way it is, how some people get into it, until about maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I worked at an Islamic school, and we always had Thanksgiving on, but then we would have the day after Thanksgiving off. And the reason was because the sisters were like severely into Black Friday. They would like get up early. They would go out to the stores 3 in the morning to get online. For me, that was straight craziness. Like, I don't understand that. 3 in the morning, I get up to pray, but I ain't getting out to go outside into the cold. Feel me? And wait on the line for like how many hours? But people do this. And so, like last year, I got something offline for Black Friday, and they were actually really good. It was a really good deal. I got a brother sewing machine for my daughter for $49, and then I wound up going into the store like later the next night. I didn't even think it was going to be that many people there. It's like, okay, it's been going on for hours. But I went. I was able, alhamdulillah, to buy a camera for $49 also. So it was cool. So this year, I plans on getting a couple of things offline for my children, and like I won't say what it is because I don't know. I'm still gonna buy it eventually, inshallah. But you know, then I got wind that there is a Black Friday boycott going on, and so the reason that is going on, I'm sure many of you who are watching this knows, it's because of the latest killing of an African American male, a child. He was big, but he was a child. He was 18. He was still a teenager. And even if he wasn't, I don't care if he was 81. You know, our people, African Americans, from the very beginning, it's been nothing but violence against us in this country. That's the reality of it. And, this was just the latest installment. The straight shooting down and murdering of this boy. And, to go online and, I YouTubed a lot of stuff. And so I saw like interviews with his mom and stuff like that. I saw somebody who was there at the scene where they had this baby on the ground for, the mom said, 4.5 hours before they finally got him up, uncovered. Like, that's unheard of. Like, what is that? But they finally, just stuff that I've seen. Of course, I was not there. I live nowhere near Missouri, but it's the latest installment. So when I heard that the Black Friday boycott is going on, I'm definitely down. I'm down for anything to help my people. Period. I know y'all might see the light skin and all that. Regardless, I am who I am. I know who I am. And even if I was not African American, I'm down for the underdog. So that being said, Black Friday, none of that going on in my house. And I don't know. There's a lot of people. I know everybody is not gonna do this sort of thing, even if cheap electronics are not involved. People, for whatever reason, it could be that they are afraid. It could be they were not taught to stand up for certain things. It could be a slew of different reasons why people won't stand up and speak out. Some people are just like Young Thug, like, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm making this money. But I mean, how and when are things gonna change? We tend to harp on Martin and Malcolm and Gandhi, all these people who stood up and did things for us in the past, and it always boggles my mind that these people died. They didn't just die. They willingly left their family. They willingly were tortured, and they willingly went through things. And by torture, I mean, they may not have gotten cigarette burns in their backs and all that sort of thing. But talk about stress. I mean, it had to have been torturous. The phone calls, threatening your family, not knowing if you can go outside with your children, if your children can go to school, all these sorts of things. They did. They stood up for us as a people. They stood up for justice and for what they felt was right, which I agree with, what they felt was right. And, they did these things for us. Yet, and in a very, very real way, we benefit from what they stood up for. Yet, we will seldom stand up for anything. And oftentimes when we do go out and, protest and things of that nature, it's very short-lived. it's because, oh, that's what's going on right now. But then we unfortunately have a pattern of not forgetting about things, but I don't know, it's kind of like the fire sizzles. And I can understand in some ways because, it's so frustrating when you constantly see these things being done. And mashallah, it could be any one of us next, like seriously. Today it's the Brown family, or August it was the Brown family. But there's been many, many more since then. And it could be my son, it could be either one of my sons. It could be me, you know what I'm saying? It's not like it's only black males or Latino males, or just guys, people of color who are males. Um, it can be any one of us. And yet, we stand up for a time and then we sit back down. And the powers that be know this. They know this about the people. But inshallah, I'm really, really hoping and praying that it's not going to be like this time. Like, people even around the world seem to be speaking out. People around the world, they know what we hear, what we go through in this country. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I understand exactly what the people of Ferguson are going through right now. Of course, I've had friends who have been shot by the cops. I've protested outside of police stations. I've been involved in organizations and organizing all these sorts of things. And so I get that. I understand that. I've cried over things that happened. I lived through the the LA riots and stuff like that, but I have not been inside a riot, alhamdulillah. So, I can only imagine what would make a people do such a thing in their own community, to their own community. The frustration, the stress, just everything. I can't fathom what they're going through. You know what I'm saying? It saddens me in a very real way that it came to that for them. I don't knock it by any means. I just wish it didn't have to happen. As I said, I didn't go through a riot, but I have lived the aftermath of a riot. I'm born and raised in Newark, New Jersey, and born in 1972, alhamdulillah. And like in the late 60s, all around the country, in black communities, there were uprisings and rioting and stuff like that were happening because of the same exact thing 40 some odd years later. And of course, long before that too. The same exact things were going on, and the people getting frustrated and acted out in the way that they knew how. And so in 1968, Newark, New Jersey was no different. And in fact, the riot that happened in Newark started because of police brutality. And the people, flared up and acted out. And that was in 68. So, like, the troops came in, the United States troops came in with tanks and everything. Man, they shot up the place. And, there was burnings and stuff. Some of them were done by the people. Some of them were not done by the people. And there's like serious, like gross documentation on this that you can find online in libraries, archival Time magazine pieces and things like that, so you can see for yourself. And accounts that were given, witness accounts that were given, were not only done by African American people, they were also done by some of the white folks who were there in town for different reasons, like organizing and stuff. Because again, it was the 60s. So there were a lot of white people also organizing and trying to help, do things within the black communities. So you have all these different accounts. And so, like I said, troops and everybody came in, and then the people, you know, they were shooting, rioting, whatever. I don't know how much the shooting that the people were doing, because from what I understand, it's not like guns were as easy to come about back then. But anyway, and me being from there, having grown up there and everything, of course I know people, many people who did live through the time, who were there, who have businesses, how many black businesses, they will put up, they will like write signs like, you know, soul brother or soul sister, and the people would not come, the community people would not come and mess with their things. They wouldn't like loot or anything like that. But then the troops will come in and they would burn them down. They would like knock out windows and stuff. At the time, there were a great many white Jewish families who had money and stuff within Newark, New Jersey, and they had the stores and stuff. You know, they weren't giving back to the community and things of that nature. A lot of stuff that was going on, a lot of straight out racist stuff that was going on in the 60s all over the place. And so the community would like, you know, bother their stores and their property and things of that nature. So that was in 68, right? I'm born in 72. I grew up in the 70s and 80s, all the way through the 70s, all the way through the 80s until like maybe say 90, 92, something like that. All up and down Springfield Avenue, you had stores that had been burned up and knocked out and all these things. Back in 68, still standing. You had the projects that were there at the time. You know, they still, top floors and stuff, they still had windows with gunshots and stuff all those years later. So, and even with the, you know, the 92 riots, the LA riots, after Rodney King, again, police brutality, had been beaten to a pulp, and it was on camera, and you know, the officers got away. Again, it's not like they're gonna come in and fix your community. You're left to fend for yourselves. And so, you know, those are the things that cross my mind when I hear of, you know, black people rioting, tearing up their communities out of frustration and anger and pain. What else would make somebody do something like that in their own community? You know, I don't expect anyone who does not understand the plight of people of color and of African Americans in this country to understand. I don't need you to understand, but I don't expect you to understand until you have to worry about your son being stopped by the police, and you having to teach your kids, you having to teach your children that if a cop stops you, keep your hand on the wheel. Don't do a thing unless you let him know, I'm getting my information, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, because you'll be dead. 1, 2, 3, and they'll get off on it. Literally and figuratively, if you know what I mean. And you know, everybody does not understand our plight. They don't have to understand our plight. We do. We have to do something about it. Now, I'm with the president. I know a lot of people are upset with President Obama and everything. I don't know. But the way I look at it is, he can only do what he can do. And he is the only president who has come out and spoken out at all. And he really seems like he wants to help. And, you know, I'm down with that. And I agree with him. You can't go just, you know, burning stuff up and stuff like that. And I also think from the tone of his voice and things that he says, you know, you have to tread well. So you just can't come out there. You can't, you know, put on his Black Power t-shirt or any of that sort of thing. But it seems like he wants to help. He seems like he's sincere to me. and that he wants to do with the people. You know, he wants to like roll with us and help things. And you know, I don't think he's an emotional person. Thank Allah, because if he was emotional, he'd really have a harder way to go. You know, if he just wanted to cuss somebody out, you know, it's crazy. You always wonder who's next. Like, who's gonna be next? You know, it's gonna be my son. It's gonna be one of my sons. Is it gonna be my nephew? Is it gonna be one of my brothers? You know, is it gonna be, you know, my classmate's boyfriend? You just, you don't know. And that's the thing. So again, you know, we have to do something. I really, my heart goes out to Ferguson, the people of Ferguson. And you understand, this whole Black Friday boycott and everything is not simply for Michael Brown. It's for all the Michael Browns that came before him and that inevitably are gonna come after him. That's just what it is. That's our reality here in America.